how are you seeing things right now? You know, what are you getting for your sense on the ground with your, technology perspective, your investor perspective? How are you seeing the state of the world?
So I am now an operator, not a hedge fund person anymore. But that would be the question I would ask if I were still a hedge fund. In fact, I would be trying to find people like me all day long to ask them about the fundamental operating trends. So you still have your instincts with you, Raoul. So I think if you take this you have to look at the 1 year plus trend. If you look at it from about a year ago to where we are today, today is the day, just so people know, that Fed may cut rates. I think the macro backdrop is actually fantastic, and no one's better at talking about that than you, so I'll leave it to you to talk about that. The liquidity situation, as you talked about, is also improving. I'll talk about the fundamentals of individual assets in the space. I think in general, what we're seeing is a little bit of dispersion now. Not everything is all treated as the same anymore with just different betas. Now, the market is actually a little discerning and trying to figure out and giving the quality assets more respect. And that is based on fundamental trends. And I can tell you from where I sit, there's been a lot of potential partnerships, crossover from traditional Web 2 as well as TradFi, who want to use the blockchain to enable some application, to enable some sort of feature, or to have a better backbone for their B2B infrastructure. And that is all happening. On the native side, the P4P and in the crypto native side, I think things have been, frankly, a little bit quieter. I think the adoption curve for natives has gotten to a point where we really need to see more people crossing over and taking the belief and diving in, like you and I did way back when. And that's only going to happen when you see better applications and real use cases.
So you think that we're at the point where it's difficult to onboard the kind of investor type who's curious, and really the next phase has to be this applications layer that we've all been talking about, working on and thinking about?
That's correct. I think this is now a few cycles. I've been involved now for 3 cycles. You've been involved for at least 3 cycles. And it's grown. I mean, I know you regularly talk about there's 500 million users in the space. I'll differ a little bit. I think there are 500 million investors and speculators, actual developers, and actual users of on-chain stuff is actually relatively small. So there's still a long way in terms of penetration for actual usage. And that's what I'm talking about. What I am seeing is developers, both in crypto native and in Web 2, are experimenting and ready to launch things, but there's a short-term and a medium-term issue. I think in the short term, frankly, they want some certainty in the regulation. And after November, for better or for worse, I think people are going to start moving. It's kind of like the gun just went off and you're at the starting line. Whether it's good weather or bad weather, you're going to start running. So, but while you're still waiting, no, you don't need to figure out if you need to put on a pair of sweatpants or not. You can at least hold off a little bit. There's no like urgency to go do something since we're so close to November. So I think that's one thing. And another thing is, frankly, I think these new entrees into the space, unlike in the past where they would buy it on Coinbase and then somehow easily figure out a way to get into ecosystems and try things out. If you own an ETF, you're actually parking it somewhere, and you're not really getting what this whole space is about, which is utility and usage. So there are probably more people involved, but they're not involved the way an operator will love it to be involved, frankly.
We hope you enjoyed the video. At Real Vision, we help you understand the complex world of finance, business, and the global economy with in-depth analysis from real experts. Join the revolution at realvision.com.